Hello, I'm Christine Stricker, Instructional Design Specialist in the Center for Online Learning at Eastern Illinois University. Today I'm going to talk about how to facilitate effective online discussions. In this video, you will learn how to create discussion questions that engage and stimulate conversation, moderate discussions without restricting thoughtful interactions, use discussions as a way to build community, and utilize discussions as a grade item. First, let's talk about the benefits of using online discussion boards. An online discussion board builds class community by promoting discourse on class topics, allows time for in-depth reflection, facilitates learning by allowing students to view and respond to the work of others, develops thinking and writing skills, allows guest experts to participate in the course by posting information and responding to questions. One of the best ways to start thinking about how to use a discussion board is by revisiting Bloom's taxonomy. If we want to focus on knowledge, we could have students work in small groups to compile a list of resources to be shared on the discussion board. In terms of comprehension, students might estimate how many hours a week kids watch TV, then post their guesses, findings, and reactions on the discussion board. We might also have students work in pairs to design a customized lesson to be posted on the discussion board in order to demonstrate application. Students could analyze political speeches. They could synthesize by creating a special interest discussion board and moderating it. And finally, students can evaluate other classmates' knowledge. Before class starts, make sure that you structure your discussion board activities carefully and provide clear guidelines on appropriate content, length of posts, frequency, required information, and how they should reply to others. Don't forget to share how students will be graded. Will it be a rubric or completion grade? Will they get full points for just one post, or do they need to reply to a certain amount of classmates' posts? Encourage students to act informally by giving them a place to interact socially. Encourage them to update their profile with a picture of themselves to allow others to feel like they are talking to a real person. Establish clear netiquette guidelines so that students know what is acceptable and what is not. The Center for Online Learning can provide you with EIU's netiquette guidelines. Prepare the students before they come in. Require them to do prep work, perhaps a reading or watch a video, before they post to the discussion board. Assess the quality as well as the quantity of students' online posts. Using rubrics will allow students to have a clear guideline of your expectations for quality of their posts. Be a guide on the side. Discussions should encourage interaction between students, rather than individual responses from the teacher. Jump in only when students are not following the assignment, dominating the discussion, or when they are not following the rules of netiquette. Encourage collaboration by using small group activities to help build community and establish peer communication and connection. You can do this by asking students for their opinions, encouraging peer feedback, using critical thinking questioning strategies, and assuring students that you are reading every post, even if you don't respond. Instead, establish the expectation that students are the central focus of the discussion boards. Prepare yourself by asking the right questions based on your course objectives. Avoid closed-ended questions. Try to generate a deeper understanding of the material. Use questions that assess what students are learning. Use colored text to separate ideas, provide visual contrast, and focus student attention. Consider giving students choices of questions, which may encourage more buy-in. To brainstorm questions, think about what you might ask in a face-to-face class. What about follow-up questions? How would you get students to shift their view? How would you highlight tensions between differing opinions? Good questions are the key to a productive discussion. These include not only the questions you ask to jumpstart discussions, but also the questions you use to probe for deeper analysis, ask for clarification or examples, explore implications, and the like. It's helpful to think about the various kinds of questions you might ask and the cognitive skills they require to answer. Let's look at some sample questions and how we can change them to be more effective. Encourage questions that solicit relevant personal opinion or personal experience. Ask questions that encourage students to engage with other students in the class. Ask questions that require connections to be drawn between past and present course material. And finally, make a question go from simple to complex to flesh out different types of learning. To structure replies so that you avoid the "I agree" reply, one model that you can require is the "I heard, I noticed, I wondered" model. Students have to summarize what they've read, noticed what stood out to them, and ask questions about what they didn't understand, what might have worked better, or what would happen if they looked at it in a different way. Don't forget to be a role model. Cite sources and respond positively to all student questions. Another method is the praise, probe, propose, and be positive model, which is similar in that it requires both positive and critical feedback. In this sample discussion board assignment, notice that the instructions are clear. There is contrast in color and letter case. A choice of prompts provides students options. There are instructions on how to respond, and information about assessment is provided. The discussion board is not just for student-to-student posts. There are many other approaches you could take to a discussion board. You could invite an expert, or ask a student to become an expert, and students could pose questions to the expert on the discussion board. You could encourage a debate, assigning sides to groups of students. You could require students to create a poll and have a discussion around the poll results. Conduct a role play so that students have to see sides from a personal perspective. There are many other things you can do with online discussions, such as discussing dilemmas, evaluating sources, requiring mediation, and reflecting in journals. Make sure that you have an assessment plan in place, whether you grade on completion or use it as a summative assessment. Consider a rubric. Set due dates and times so that students can ask you last-minute questions. A 4 p.m. due time might work better for responding than an 11:30 p.m. due time. Consider linking due times with office hours. Don't forget to take time to make time. Create a list of tasks that you may need to do every week or every day, and assign a specific amount of time to that task. Let students know when your online office hours or fastback hours are so that they know when to expect to hear back from you. Set guidelines for the types of communication that should be done via each medium. Thank you for watching this online design video presented by the Center for Online Learning.